The instant the president rose for me, I instantly recognized those who wouldn't applaud. The applause surged like a tide, dignified and deliberate, flowing through marble pillars and polished wood. As I stepped forward in my full-dress uniform, I felt no need to smile. The acknowledgement wasn't for them, but for what I had created when no one was observing. I heard my name resonate in the chamber, Staff Sergeant Elise Monroe. And then it happened. He stood, the President of the United States, nodding as I approached through a sea of polished shoes and pressed suits. Cameras flashed, capturing a singular, decisive moment, visible and undeniable. At that moment, I sensed it. A soft vibration from my phone in my jacket pocket, muted yet persistent. I already knew what it was. Later that night, back in my hotel room, I finally looked at my phone. Ryan, wait, the actual president? Chloe, you could have mentioned something. Kind of messed up, to be honest. My mom sent a screenshot of the live stream captioned, "Well, wow." I leaned back against the headboard, still in uniform, boots unlaced but not taken off. I didn't respond. I didn't have to. Earlier that day, I turned to the audience and noticed a whole row of chairs labeled Monroe Family. Untouched, no coats draped over the backs, no bags on the floor, no effort to pretend they were ever coming, not even a seat saved for appearances, as if they had never intended to be proud. Now they were angry they hadn't received an invitation. Those same people who rolled their eyes when I ironed my ROC shirt, who laughed when I mentioned boot camp, who dismissed my ambition as a phase. Let them be mad. The room stood for me. They never had. I was 16 when Chloe finally vocalized it, not behind my back, not whispered, at the lockers, clear and loud enough to echo, "She's just playing soldier. Give her a doll and call it a day." They laughed. I didn't. I stared at my boots, scuffed from drill practice but perfectly tied. Then I walked on. Not fast, not slow, just straight. At home, my ROC jacket hung neatly on the kitchen chair. My mom brushed past it, laundry basket in hand. "Maybe this will teach you some discipline," she muttered. I didn't reply. I just lifted the jacket off the chair to prevent it from wrinkling on the floor. That year, I entered an essay contest, Why Service Matters. I wrote about legacy, about Grandpa's medals in a shoebox, about serving even when no one salutes. I won second place statewide and left the certificate on the kitchen counter. The next morning, a coffee ring was across my name. Mom glanced at it and said, "Well, it's not the New York Times." No one attended the awards dinner. Chloe had cheer regionals. Ryan said, "An essay thing? You're serious?" Dad went back to discussing the weather. I went alone, wore borrowed flats and a thrifted dress. They called my name. I smiled, said thanks, and left. Back at school, someone pinned the article to the bulletin board, but no one noticed it was mine. I remember graduation. I walked out, into the parking lot and saw Mom's car. My chest lifted. I fixed my gown and reapplied my lip balm, but as I got closer, the car was empty. She had driven Chloe to cheer tryouts across the street. I sat on the curb, diploma in hand, then walked home alone. By then, I didn't hope for celebration. I just didn't want to be erased. In senior year, I wore my uniform to school once. Chloe rolled her eyes so hard she nearly tripped. "Still doing the army costume thing?" she said. I looked at her, then at the ribbon I'd sewn onto my collar. "It's not dress up if it doesn't come off." She said nothing. She never did. They all thought I'd grow out of it. The uniform, the routine, the need to prove something. My first duty station was 3 states away in a town with more pine than people. I packed my things in silence. No send-off, no car ride, just a bus ticket and a weather app. No one asked where I was going. No one even Googled the base name. The day I arrived, I texted the family group chat a photo of me in fatigues, hair pulled back, smile half forced yet proud. Ryan left it on scene. Chloe replied 2 hours later, "Is that real gear or like ROC stuff?" I typed out a full explanation, then erased it, just sending a thumbs up. That first year was mud and sweat and early mornings that didn't care who was watching. I ran until my arches throbbed, cleaned rifles until I could smell CLP in my sleep, folded uniforms sharper than any conversation I'd had at home. No one asked how I was sleeping or if the blisters had burst. At Christmas, I mailed gifts from the PX, a mug that read "Best Grandma Ever," even though Mom wasn't one, a set of novelty socks for Ryan, Chloe's favorite snacks, overpriced and bubble-wrapped. Only Chloe replied, "Thanks, I guess. Kind of random, but okay, lol." I kept that message not because it was warm, but because it was the only one. The following spring, I was sent overseas, different continent, same silence. On my 24th birthday, the family FaceTimed me, but not for me. It was Aiden's candle-blowing moment. They held the phone up to the cake. Chloe's voice said, "Oh, hey, Elise, you're still in Japan, right? Cool. Anyway, say hi to Aiden." The camera flipped. I waved, but no one waved back. After that, I stopped answering. Birthdays became quiet evenings with vending machine coffee and whatever was left in the mess hall. I started calling them Tuesdays. Then came the call that changed my record, a medevac. We lost radio, and I coordinated fallback without maps or margins. People lived because of it. The commendation arrived, folded and unsigned, just a number in a database, but it was real. I didn't tell anyone, didn't text the group chat, I didn't want another cool or LOL. I pinned the medal above my bunk. Velcro? No. Frame? No speech. My bunkmate stared and said, "You don't talk about home much?" I shrugged. Nothing new to say. But inside, I felt something settle. Not pride exactly, but something quieter, like the moment a door shuts and you realize you never needed it open in the first place. It came on a Wednesday, the kind of day no one remembers. Overcast, damp. My boots left light prints on the hallway floor as I walked in from the base. There it was, glowing in the top corner of my inbox. Subject, Department of Defense National. Commendation, notification. At first, I thought it was admin spam. I almost archived it. Then I saw my name in the second line. Staff Sergeant Elise Monroe. Bold and capitalized. Strange. It didn't look like me. Not because it wasn't accurate, but because it had weight. Real weight? The kind that doesn't ask permission. I opened the file and stared at the PDF. Black serif font, gold seal watermark faint in the corner. Formal language threaded with clipped sincerity. In recognition of distinguished leadership, performance under pressure, and continued service in defense of this nation. I read it 3 times. Not because I didn't believe it, but because I did. I printed it on thick paper and folded it once, then twice, then a third time. For reasons I still don't understand, the crease ran perfectly down the emblem. I left it on the counter next to my mug, not touching it again for hours. That night, I opened the family group chat. The last message was Chloe on a beach, holding a mimosa. Ryan had commented, "Living the dream." And Mom had reacted with a heart. I stared at the screen for a full minute, then typed, "I'll be flying to DC next month. I'm being honored by the Department of Defense. Thought you should know." 3 dots appeared almost immediately. Chloe. Cute. Don't forget to salute the punch bowl. Ryan. Cool. Maybe Biden will tweet you. Mom didn't say anything. Just a thumbs up, a gray bubble, 1 tap. That was it. I stared at it long after the screen dimmed, feeling like I was watching someone walk past my open door without glancing in on purpose. I locked my phone, then unlocked it, reading the thread again even though I'd memorized every word. It didn't hurt, not like it used to, but it didn't sit quietly either. They weren't proud. They were annoyed they'd been left out of a moment they never helped build. I poured tea, let it sit until it cooled, then poured it out untouched. The folded letter was still on the counter. I pressed it flat, ran my hand across the seal, then whispered to the room, "Maybe they won't be invited." It wasn't revenge. It wasn't defiance. Just possibility spoken out loud for the first time. The shoes I wore that morning weren't new, but they were clean, polished by hand, laces double knotted. I stood in my small hotel room, pinning the last ribbon above my heart, where the stitching had started to fray. Not due to wear, but repetition. I didn't check the mirror. By now, I knew how I looked. It didn't matter what I carried. Outside, Washington, D.C. woke slowly under pale spring light, the kind that doesn't warm, just reveals. Cherry blossoms lined the sidewalks as if they had nowhere else to go. The ceremony hall stood as if it had always been waiting. Stone, columns, high arches, silence you could feel in your jaw. Inside, the air held the weight of polished old wood and well-pressed history. An organ murmured low, the kind of sound that doesn't fill space but reminds you how much space is there. An aide fixed the edge of my nameplate. Another smoothed my cuff. No words, just motion. 2 minutes, someone said gently from the hallway. I stepped into the light. Rows of chairs stretched before me, polished uniform, precise. Near the front left side, 5 rows in, a placard read Monroe Family. 6 white chairs, empty, not even a wrinkle in the fabric. No jackets slung, no purses, no programs folded open, no signs of presence, not even the lazy kind that says, "We meant to show up late." Just perfect absence. In that moment, before anyone clapped, I remembered my high school graduation, the name called, the step forward, the chair they never returned to after lunch, the smile I held for the yearbook photo. Too wide, too long, the space beside me on stage. Some absences are louder than presence ever could be. The announcer's voice rang out clear. For exceptional service, leadership under pressure, and unwavering commitment to duty, Staff Sergeant Elise Monroe. Applause. Not wild, not warm, just full. Then the shift, soft but sure, the president. Stood, others followed, rising, shoes tapping, hands clapping, a wall of noise built on silence. I moved forward, measured steps, shoulders even. The metal pin in the box inside my left pocket felt heavier with each breath. He extended his hand. No flourish, just clarity. I shook it, feeling the nod of approval, not just as acknowledgement, but closure. Then I turned from the stage. The family row was visible again, still untouched, still pretending it was reserved, still insisting someone might arrive. But no one did. Across the aisle, Marcus, the photographer, lifted his camera. No eye contact, no wave, just focus. He angled the shot as I walked past the empty chairs. Click, a soft sound, but I felt it like the punctuation at the end of a sentence I'd been writing since I was 15. I didn't ask to see the photo, didn't pose, didn't speak. I knew he'd captured it, the moment where the world saw the seat saved for people who had never chosen to stand. The chairs. Didn't blink, but neither did I. As I stepped down, I caught sight of Grace. She sat 3 rows back, calm, hands folded, face still. She didn't smile, didn't clap longer than anyone else. She just met my eyes and gave the smallest nod. It was enough. And for once, I didn't search the room for who wasn't there. I already knew. I didn't post the group photo. Not the handshake, not the medal, not even the president. Just one image. Me mid-stride, full dress uniform, back straight, head high, walking past 6 white chairs that had never been touched. There was no caption, no hashtags, no explanation. I uploaded it, then closed the app. Within hours, the messages started. A professor from my undergrad days commented, "Proud of you, Elise. Always knew you had something rare." Then an old neighbor said, "I remember when you used to help my husband shovel snow before school. Didn't realize you were the one doing all this." Later that evening, quietly, with no fanfare, a comment from my first team leader overseas. Still leading with stillness, some of us noticed before the world did. I didn't respond, didn't like or pin anything. It was enough to know someone had seen me before. Around 10 p.m., my phone buzzed. "Ryan, you could have told us it was this big, TBH, kind of messed up." 5 minutes later, "Mom's been crying. Thought you'd include us." I let the screen dim. Then came the voicemail. Mom, breathy, clipped, like she'd rushed to say it before talking herself out of it. "Elise, you embarrassed us. You know that, don't you? This isn't how family does things." No mention of the award, no curiosity about the ceremony. Just disappointment for being left out of a moment they never built. I opened my notes app, typed one line. Family includes or it doesn't. I sat with it for a moment, then deleted it. Some truths aren't for sharing. Some are just for keeping close. The next morning, I stepped onto the patio with tea in hand. The photo had spread overnight, shared, reposted, added to slideshows and tribute reels. None of that mattered. What mattered was that I hadn't needed to say anything. The photo did it for me. The world saw the chairs, saw who wasn't there, and stood anyway. I picked up my phone again, scrolled through the reposts without touching them, then paused. A new comment from Megan. Just 3 words. "I see it now." I didn't reply, but I read it twice. The wind shifted slightly across the patio. The bonsai. Beside me caught the morning light. One new branch curling toward the window. Some growth takes years and still arrives quietly. I held the mug between my hands and whispered, "Not to anyone, not for effect, just because the moment asked for it. Some rooms just aren't meant for them." But that didn't stop the room from standing. Then I sat back, let the steam rise, and didn't think about them again. The bonsai arrived in a plain ceramic pot. No ribbon, no card, just a quiet delivery left at my door. I opened it slowly, unsure if it was a mistake. Inside, a folded note in neat square handwriting read, "Started this the day you left for Okinawa. It's yours now. Grace." The tree was small but deliberate, its trunk curved in a gentle arc, branches disciplined and reaching. I ran a finger lightly along one limb. A fresh cut was visible, still healing. Grace once told me, "You prune it hard not to punish it, but to teach it strength." The words echoed like water over stone, familiar but newly sharp. I placed it by the window, let the light find it, and didn't touch it again for a while. That evening, a knock. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, Megan stood there, Chloe's wife, holding a glass Tupperware wrapped in a faded checkered towel. "I made the rice cake you liked," she said, her voice careful, not apologetic, just real. I nodded and stepped aside. "No, need to speak yet?" We sat at my small kitchen table, the same one I'd eaten solo dinners at for years. I cut into the rice cake. It was a little too sweet, a little dense, exactly like I remembered. Megan looked around at the framed photo. From the ceremony, the folded uniform still draped across the chair, the metal box unopened. "I didn't realize it looked like that," she said, barely audible. I didn't answer. She picked up the photo, stared for a long time. "You were always there, and we never saw you." Her voice cracked on the last word. I didn't cry. I let her. Later, we moved to the porch. The bonsai caught the last light of day, its silhouette calm. Megan reached for her mug. "I was wrong about you." I looked at the bonsai, then at her. A lot of things grow when they're given room to. We clinked our mugs. No toast, no speech, just steam curling between two people finally sitting at the same table. I didn't hang the medals at first. They sat in their velvet boxes for weeks, stacked neatly beside unpaid utility bills and the bonsai, which now leaned slightly toward the window as if it had somewhere to be. One quiet Sunday, I took them out, not to impress anyone, not to make a point, just to let them breathe. I framed two, placed them above the bookshelf, not centered, not spotlighted, just present like I finally was. Watering the bonsai that morning, I paused at a new branch pushing through. Still tender, still learning how to hold its own shape. "I used to think proof would be enough," I whispered, but they never wanted proof. They wanted performance. And I had stopped performing. That night I sat on the back patio. The sea hummed below, soft and unbothered. The light curled along the floor like it was trying not to wake me. No camera, no audience, no names to impress. Just the air and me still here. I closed my eyes. I didn't think about who wasn't there, didn't reach for my phone, didn't wonder what they'd say if they saw it now. I'd already walked that aisle, already stood in that light. "The president stood," I said aloud, not with pride, but peace. But I didn't need him to. I just needed to arrive.